What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy, Varney, today in the studio with my boy, Dan. What's going on?
What's going on, Varney? I forgot to get water. Goddamn, we're going to be dry as hell in this video.
I've got my trusty old Kirkland brand vitamin water. We are not sponsored by Costco, but we are sponsored by
Did you get that from the Polish store? What's it called? Aldi's? Is that it?
Costco.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Costco.
I feel like I've only seen it like Aldi's or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I've been to Aldi's, but I've never.
Aldi's,
it was like
whatever.
Once while I was on a motorcycle, so I was in there for something very specific, and I don't remember what it was. Me and my boys were in, I don't know, New Jersey or like way over in Philly or something, and yeah, I don't know what I stopped in there for, but I don't remember anything that I saw in the store. So I know you get this at Costco. Costco's great. Costco's basically a money hole. You walk in as an adult and you can plan on spending at least $100.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you buy things in bulk, so it's just like a little bit more expensive when you think about it, but you're like saving in the long run type of thing, you know?
It's not even just that. It's like, yes, but also you just walk in, you're like, oh, I could use this.
Right.
Oh, I could use that. Oh, I could definitely
they sell like everything. It's like
this.
Sam's Club,
Yes.
Costco, all those type of stores. Yeah.
Yes. All of our listeners know, we're all adults here. We all have some form of responsibility. So I'm sure some of you know what it is to walk into the Targets or the Costco's, and then you walk out and you're like, well, there goes part of my card game money.
Right.
Anyways, topics for today. We're going to be talking about our piss poor regional results.
Oh God, that was terrible.
Going to be talking about our first thoughts on BT16, locals for you.
Yeah.
First thoughts on BT16. And we're going to be talking about the advent of ace cards in the Digimon card game and how they've basically changed the landscape of the game for the good. I personally, I don't have anything bad to say about them at all.
About what?
I think that ace cards.
Oh yeah, no, aces are great.
I think they're very healthy for the card game, but that's the topic for about 50 minutes, an hour from now.
Yeah,
so
like that.
I'll start. BT16, play TCG, regionals. Your boy was excited. He woke up. He felt good. Played his first match. What did he play against? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Something. But I beat it 2-0.
Woo.
And I was like, all right, cool. We out here. Second match I played against Vaccine Armors. And I was like, oop. There goes my most feared matchup. Now, let me tell you why Vaccine Armor is my most feared matchup. First of all, because
Vaccine Armors. Yes.
Yeah. First of all, because I fucking hate like Vaccine Armors. Like it's basically now it's just yellow good stuff. It's the same thing that like Mirage has become, in that Mirage is like blue good stuff, so to say. You put jamming in there so you can have jamming, and then you have the Zudo Ace so that you can bounce and whatever options you might run. Everybody runs Full Moon Meteor Impact, but there are other options that you can run in that deck as well. And so it's basically just yellow good stuff. And it's so annoying. But that's not the problem. The problem is they can proc Magna X protection better than I can proc Magna X protection, because they're yellow.
Easily do it on their turn.
Interface with their security every turn. So I feared that matchup just on that fact alone. Like, sure, yes, they can, proc my protection as well when they proc theirs. But generally, it's not hard for them to establish a Magna X turn 2, turn 3, or a Rapid X, which is also problematic. And what basically ended up happening is, I got bullied around by Rapid X. I got bullied around by Magna X, and everything that I was worried about with that matchup came true. I did not like brick, but like it's not like a true brick. It was mainly more of a like it's not like Vaccine's going to win fast, right? But at the same time, they're going to set up. If they're going to set up fast, they're going to set up fast. And essentially, not only was he able to do that, he had the right cards in hand every time, i.e. Dexmon. The first Dexmon play, I was like, I didn't expect it. And then he dropped it and I was like, okay, noted. The second Dexmon play, I'm pretty sure this was Vaccine. I could be mistaking it with my mirror match, but I'm pretty sure this was against Vaccine. Basically what happened is 2 Davis popped out security and I was like, I'll play a Vmon.
Oh, for you.
Sure, why not?
Gotcha.
And I was like, I'll play a Vmon. Sure, why not? And then a second one popped out security and I was like,
might as well, right?
I have 3 Tamers and I'll have 3 Digimon. This could be a 2-cost Dexmon. But, if he was going to play it, he might have played it already. So,
right.
Sure. Why not? Yeah, no, he came up with the Swift Dex. And that swifted game state in his favor. I'm not going to sit here and complain about Dexmon. I think
good
Dexmon is
a good card.
It's a good card. I'm not going to call it a healthy card, but I'm going to say it's definitely a necessary card. Not for the likes of me, because I don't want you playing Dexmon against me.
Of course.
But here's always been my gripe with Dexmon. It's very easy to take advantage of the fact that if you're playing against a very tamer heavy deck, i.e. Alphamon, it's easy to have 3 Cool Boys and a Yuji and then a stack. That's a 5-cost Dexmon. That's value. I would have rather if the cost reduction was 2 for each Digimon and Tamer, so that it doesn't punish the single stacks for being Tamer oriented decks as much. And then also, it would make the wide matchups a little bit less, free, so to say. Because for me, it was basically just 3 Digimon, 3 Tamers, and then that was a 3/6 time. Yeah, that was a 2-cost X, and I was like, yeah, that's certainly something. Or perhaps if it only counted Digimon on field and it didn't count Tamers, I think that also could have been fair. But again, I'm not gonna complain about Dexmon. I think it's a very necessary card, especially based on what decks are capable of doing. That being said, I got blown out by Dexmon twice. So that's how Vaccine went. They not only had Magna and Rapidmon to lead the way, but they had Dexmon to help them. So I lost that 1-2. Then I played the mirror. Game 1, I quite literally said to my opponent, hey, you never know. I'll just pass turn 1, because he was like, based on what egg you flip, I'll know what you're playing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, you never know. I might pass turn 1. Guess what I did? Turn 1. Not because I wanted to.
You just did just because you saw that. Did that back you up?
No. So here's the issue. I didn't have a rookie. I only had a Promo Davis, which I generally hate playing for no value. And I had a Shu. And I was like, I don't know what he's playing. He doesn't know what I'm playing. And obviously he's very intrigued to know what I'm playing. So instead of playing this Tamer, I'm just going to pass. So I passed. Then I drew into the rookie. So we were good. So I won game 1. I misplayed on a Sethmon. Not Sethmon specifically, but Magna X is only unaffected by your opponent's effects, not your own. So if you choose to pop your Magna X, you will armor purge, which is very good to know. So yeah, that's a thing. But I would have won anyways, even without that. Now with that all in mind, game 2. Man, game 2 was a brick fest. Honest to God, I think game 2 was literally just back and forth pass. Turn 1, I'll tell you what happened. Turn 1, he dropped Magnamon for 7, right? The BT16. So I have 7 memory star on my turn 1. I'm like, that's good, right? I had Promo Davis, a rookie, some useless cards. I was like, instead of Digivolving, let me play Promo Davis so I can play the Vmon and get a search. It pulled me into another Vmon. I was like, all right, that's good. I'm at 4 memory. Let's Digivolve Vmon. Surely I'll draw into a Magnamon, then I can do something else. I didn't draw into a Magnamon. And I didn't draw into anything else that was playable. I quite literally, for memory, there was no viable play for me. I passed on 4 memory, gave him back 3. He swung, didn't die, and he passed. I kept in raising. I swung at security because I didn't draw into anything good. And then I passed. He swung his security again, did not die again, and then he passed. Like, that's literally how game 2 went until one of us was able to get things out. There was a little bit of back and forth. He was able to take that game. And then game 3, I bricked like a motherfucker. And game 3 is what cemented for me that I am glad that BT16 is short for me, because I would not want to play Magnamon the way that I was playing Magnamon. I actually really hate that version of the deck. It's a very like straightforward, like Cliff, our boy Cliff, he said like he hates the deck because it's like just getting a Magna X and go burr. And I'm like, I get it. Like, that's just dumb. That's not the way I want to play the deck. I like playing, armor rush, so to say, not with Lydramon and all of them, because I don't care about those armors. I only like Magnamon. He's a Royal Knight.
For sure.
But I liked the deck last format. So if I was going to continue playing in BT16, I would have actually went back to playing it the way that I played last format and not relying on Magna X
and stuff like that.
I don't know about the Zudo Ace, but because I definitely would have put in the Ukomon first. Ukomon. I think,
you could definitely do that.
Because it would have been 4 Ukomon and 2 Louis. Well, at least 1 Louis, if not 2. But I know that's 5 cards that I'd have to take out the deck. And I do like some of the control options that I have in there. I would keep the Shoe for sure. I would keep the 2 Digimon. That's the problem. I've got 2 Shoe, the 4 Promo Davis, and 2 Digimon Emperor. So like adding more Tamers is like impossible because I'm already at 8. Right. Digimon Emperor is just too good. So I don't know. I probably just drop 1 Promo Davis, go up a Louis to keep myself at 8. But then I drop like basically the Blinding Rays and the Acid Injection and run Uko. And the reason that
I'll be honest, I saw the Acid Injectant pop out your security. I'm just like, why? I know why. I know why. It would have just like, to me, such a card is like,
it would have been great. It would have been great.
All right, go ahead.
The problem is, every time I went to play those cards, like, and this is why I said in the tier list video, Vaccine Armors is better than Magnamon Armors, because you can use those cards without needing to worry about color. I went to play those cards to extend the plays, and I wasn't able to because I didn't have a yellow on field. It's not as easy as you think, because generally you go into the blue-black Magnamon to control, which is the Sword Strip bounce one. But by doing that, you don't go into a yellow one. So you don't have that yellow source to use your option cards. So it made it very difficult. The only time I'd be able to use those cards is when I'm at Magna X. And when I was at Magna X, I was like, well, I don't need to forcibly, like, sure, sometimes I could forcibly proc his protection. It worked. But I was like, generally, I don't give a f about forcibly procking his protection. Like, if you want to deal with it, like, go ahead, deal with it. I have other things. And so that just like cemented it for me. I was like, I really don't like this Magnamon deck. So I'm definitely going back to the drawing board with it, because I'm going to pull out all of that stuff and I'm just going to play the style of deck that I like. But I refuse to resort to Vaccine Armors. I refuse to resort to that degeneracy. Let me tell you, they hit me with, you know what they hit me with? You know what they hit me with that I was like, oh my fucking goodness.
Judgment?
No, well.
Feel my pain, Barney, you gave me.
Let's not talk about him having lethal, me saying, all right, I'll just drop Magna X. Surely he can't answer this and I get to survive another turn. Only for him to be like, heavens. And I was like, fuck you, buddy. I'm kidding. I'm only slightly kidding. I half was like, you know what? Fuck that car. Let's not talk about Heaven's Judgment. No, what was really aggravating was Patamon Rays going to Rapidmon, Emissary into Rapid X.
Oh my God. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's so like, wild sounding, because you're just skipping a whole 5 into a 6. Yeah, like I know that's a play. I obviously know that's a thing, but like when you hear it out loud and you're just like, damn, you're just going for free into a 4 that costs, 4, I think it is, right?
4
normally, right? Yes. And then from Rapid to Rapid X costs another, what, 3? Or something like that?
4. It's an 8 memory play that No,
Yeah.
bro, no. Because remember,
Because you gain the
them
memory off of
digivolving
the,
into Rapidmon, they gain the memory off of
so it's
Patamon.
free. It's a whole
And if they
free
have
play.
the TK,
It's a plus.
if they have the TK, they're plussing 2, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that means to go into Rapid X was literally a plus one
cost, yeah,
play.
it's a +1. Yeah, it's so wild to think about. Like just the pluses on there. That's why emissaries gotta go. But that's neither here nor there. But that's crazy sounding to me. Like you know, it's the worst part. The deck didn't even win.
I know. It got what? 2 tops was it?
I think it was 2. Yeah.
I think it was 2 or 3 max. And I know. I said the biggest thing about vaccine armor is like, obviously it's a high roll deck, right? Like you need to see Patamon because otherwise, you're paying 4. Let me tell you, my opponent was doing that, no issue. Like absolutely no issue. I think the biggest barrier for vaccine armor is Numamon, because Numamon is so oppressive with Valk Ace. That card is so good for the deck, but that's a topic for another day as well. That emissary play had me. I was like, you know what the worst part about it too was? I was like, Rapidmon is like when digivolving, suspend all your opponent's Digimon, then you may attack. I was like, it's still his turn. He doesn't even need to like declare the attack with Rapidmon. Like, in what world do we live in where he's just able to be like, yeah, I will suspend everything and I'll use the effect to declare the attack, but you still have 4 memory. You could just declare the attack regularly. Like that little train of logic there, that shit had me fucked up. I was like, he just did all of that to go into a Rapid X, still somehow keep turn not at 0 memory, but at like 3 to 4. So he had plays and basically clear my board. I was like, This just reinforces my hate for like vaccine armor. It's not just vaccine armors. It's the unfortunate reality of vaccine as a what's it called? I guess as an archetype, yellow vaccine, because it's just exactly that. Now with that being said, do I think Patamon needs to get hit? You had asked me on Saturday after that.
He said Saturday. Hell yes.
I'd have told you fuck that card. If you ask me right now, I'm still gonna tell you fuck that card. It doesn't change. Patamon, I do believe it's bad design space. It's just bad design. Digivolving for free is insane. I think if it reduced Digivolution cost by 1, card would have been fair, because that means you're Digivolving. Let's put it this way, right? You go into a Garomon that costs 2, you're going to Digivolve for 1, and then your Patamon effect is going to gain you a memory, so then it'll be free, and then TK will plus you 1. Rapidmon, something that it probably wasn't intended to be used with, would cost you 3 to Digivolve, with Patamon effect cost you 2 to Digivolve, so it makes it like it's a, like a regular 2 cost to Digivolve. And then TK will net you an extra memory. So it'll still be 1. So unless you have a lot of setup, you're still paying memory. I think Patamon should have never Digivolved for free. It should have Digivolved for 1. Emissary of Hope, because it lets you climb, it should have been like a 2 cost option card, so that you can go into things that cost 3 for 2 and things that cost 4 for 2, to be fair. So like, I just think like, I know what they were doing. Give yellow some good cards, yada, yada. Those cards could have been better designed. And I think sooner than later, those cards are going to pose a problem for game design. I know there's going to be a lot of people that agree with me, probably more people than not, because I know a lot of people also hate yellow vaccine. I agree with the sentiment that it's generally feels like bad game design. Card should have never Digivolved for free, straight up. Patamon should have never Digivolved for free. Emissary should have never Digivolved for 1.
It's hard because it's hard to say, because it's like, maybe if there was like you said, reduce the Evo, but not just be straight free, like it wouldn't feel as bad. And then I think if that was the case, maybe Emissary wouldn't feel as bad. You know what I'm saying?
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know.
Because it's the same for you. It's the same thing as HPD. It's like, reduce Evo cost by 5, right?
But it's MDF,
but that's
too, right? Like it's all that. Yeah.
Yeah, reduced by 5 is like every Digi-Evolution in the game, except Quartzmon, which, okay, I'm still gaining memory, you know? Is anything, and this is, I've always said it, and I'll say it here again. This could be like one of my quotes that you guys can like, you know, be like, oh, that's what Varney says. Digimon becomes unfun when decks cheat the memory system. The memory system is what keeps everything fair. The moment decks start cheating the memory system, that's when it gets to be unfair. That's why for Fenry, as much as I love that deck, it is both an unfair deck and a fair deck. It's unfair because of what it does with the manipulation, but because of the setup that it requires, it makes it a fair deck. Sure, it's an uninteractable OTK when they do get set up, but you have more ways of interacting with Fenry than you do with Alphamon, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Vaccine, the way that it's currently designed, it cheats the memory system like a dirty fuck. Sure, you have to get set up. You know, sure, you need to see the Patamon. You probably want to see a TK. It doesn't change the fact that it's doing things for free. And when you start doing things for free to that extent, you know, free Digi-Evolutions, look at Marcus. You know, Shine was a unfair deck at one point because Marcus was letting you climb out here for free. If Marcus was saying reduce Digi-Evolution cost by 1 or by 2, I'm sure not as many people would have had a problem, because then you couldn't start turn on 1 memory, Digivolve into Rise Gray, you know, make Marcus a Digimon, swing, go into Rise Gray, cool, recover his security if you die. If you don't, end on a Shine, you know. Anything that's free, it's just, it's power creep, right? Like, you can tell when they make things free, they're generally meaning for it to be really good. If there's a cost associated with it, if it's reducing Digi-Evolution cost, it's meant to be fair. Let's look at good old Etamon and Chumon, for example. A 1 cost of Digivolve repeat that has no alternate Digi-Evolution cost, but it reduces the cost of your Digi-Evolution by 1.
Right.
And now let's look at Patamon.
Free Evo. And a free Evo into the next level. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's 0 cost to Digivolve.
It's amazing how they make things fair and then unfair at the same time.
Patamon was BT14, and this Chumon I'm talking about was BT13, I think. It's either, yeah, I think that, oh no, maybe it was BT11 I'm thinking of. I could be wrong. But regardless, think about that, you know? If Bandai wants it to be fair, they'll associate a cost with it. If they want you to buy the set for that card, they will make it free. So, little rant over. That was my regional run. I went 1-2. I dropped because sure, I could have. I should check the results, but I don't think I would have had a chance for top 16, to be honest. And I didn't care for top 32. If it was the old pricing, maybe, but we're on that new wave of regional pricing that I hate. So I was like, yeah, I'm not even, it's not worth it for me.
Are you talking
the
about
Fenry, the Phoenix Mon? Yeah. I didn't care for that pricing. So I was like, I'm just going to drop and spend the day with the wife, which I enjoyed. You know, I got my 3D printer. Going pretty good back there. And yeah, so that's how it went for me. Dan, I know you didn't have the best times either. Lay it on us. Oh my God,
I was so mad. All right. So I went in with Tyrant. So I got to preface some things real quick.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Friday night, boy. So most TOs usually have their deck list submission by it's like 11:59 p.m. into the next day because it's the Friday night. So I thought that too. I didn't even look at. I know the emails probably said the 8 p.m. CST, but I just saw the emails that said deck submission. I was like, all right, cool. I'll just I'll get it on later. Friday, you know, anybody listens, we host our TBLs. I was playing it because I wanted to test out a deck, so it's okay. Testing went all right, not the best, not the worst. So again, by the time I realized, I messaged I think one of the head judges for them. Hey, am I allowed? Can I still submit my deck submission? Yes or no? They're like, no, you are hard job. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I was like, well, that sucks. Can I get a refund? No. All right. Have a good night. I was very pissed about that. So I was like, all right. I was like, next day, whatever, I'll go run around, do errands, whatever I needed to do for the day. 9:50 comes around. I get an email from them saying, "You've been dropped, but do you want to get back into the tournament?" Basically, I was like, I was already planning on. I guess I'll try. So I had 10 minutes to resubmit everything to get into this goddamn tournament. So I already had like Tyrant built and stuff, so I already like used that, and I put it into the TCG app, whatever. If I didn't have to do all that, if I didn't have to rush and do things, I probably would have played Numon, and I probably would have done better than I did with Tyrant, honestly, because I wouldn't have had to go into time for every goddamn round almost. So like I said, went to play Tyrant. When my final record I dropped after 5 rounds or 6 rounds, no, 5 rounds, was 1 win, 2 losses, 2 draws. Okay. And everybody knows
Dan out here slow playing.
It ain't me. And anybody knows me, they know I hate ties, especially when I know there's a chance for me to win. So round 1 happens. I play against Fenrir Lugamon. Tyrant has a pretty good matchup into Fenrir because Fenrir can't do anything with Tyrant unless you aren't fully boosted as the way I would have liked to be. Unfortunately, times Fenrir can align up to 18k, I think it is, and you can. I was times I was 17, so like game 2 he was able to swing over my Tyrant like once or twice, something like that. And you know, he had that, but like game 1 was at least like 30 minutes. It was something stupid long because like once you establish a Tyrant and if they don't really have an instant out for it and it's boosted, they cannot do anything. So I'm sitting here watching a guy, you know, take a while with his turns. I'm just like, all right, like, are you doing anything? What's happening? Like, do your plays, hurry up. In my head, at least, this is what I'm thinking. And unfortunately, it was super grind fest. By the time we finished game 2, it was already time in overtime. We was not getting game 3 done at all. So we called it a draw. I was like, all right, whatever, fine. It is what it is type of thing. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Round 2, I played against a mirror. I got straight smacked. He saw everything and I didn't really see much. It was the first time I played the mirror at that moment. And I learned instantly, do not be the first one to raise. You are effed if you're the first one that raises, because then they'll raise, they'll boost over you as soon as possible and then swing over your thing. And now you have to rebuild. And that is kind of hard. Especially if you don't see the right pieces in time. His version was different than mine because I was still running the bunny package. So I had like 2 Lockmon, 2 Terriermon, 2 Double Typhoon, 2 Rapid, 2 what's it called? 2 Rapid and 2 Rapid, I should say. And then I had a Mega Gargoyle Ace. The
2 BT8 and the 2 what was it? Starter deck one?
The starter deck one. No, just 2 of the starter deck one. It was just 2 of the starter deck one.
The level 5, you mean?
Yeah, I have 4 in total. So the gotcha. 5 version and the level 4 version, you know?
Gotcha.
And so, you know, his was more, I guess what I would say more a regular version right now because he was running like Kuwaga. And I think he had the promo as well. Not the promo, the X Kuwaga X. He was running Ukos, so he was getting stuff going a little faster than I was, I guess, at that time. Especially if you don't start off great, it runs a little slow at times. So he just popped off, got me. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. 0-1-1, that's all right. So I could still make top 16 if we win, right? So round 3 happens. I play against, I don't know who I played against right now. I won that one though. What I played against?
Oh, you should. I would.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think what it was right now. I beat them 2-0 though. Pretty like decisive like 2-0 too. I just don't remember what it is right now. Anyways, I guess because it was like everything else that happened afterwards, I was so sick about it. I don't even remember the one win. But anyways, decisive win, great, whatever. And then round 4 happens. I play against another mirror match. So I already know what to do with the mirror. No problem. Game 1, he is he must play like 3 Grand Kawagas or something because he saw them so often and was just popping my Izzy. I was like, this guy. I won game 1 pretty handily, and then game 2 happens. I made a misplay that cost me the game, I would say, because of timing of doing the end of turn effects. And so I mistimed the effects of Magnamon plus Tyrant in total, which caused him to save his Tyrant on board. And I was just like, I knew what I did immediately. And because I already announced the play, so I can't really just backtrack like that. And I was just like, F, I know what I did. This is going to cost me the game. And that ended up costing me game 2, unfortunately, because he was able to get control with his Tyrant and then like board control at that point, and it was GG. Then game 3 happens. Game 3 was a back and forth, but he's also very slow, and then got slower as time was coming. And so he gets a super early advantage. He gets me down to 1 security while he still had his size 5. And I started making a comeback. I clear his board with everything. I have a Tyrant. I have a Shivamon on board. So I'm in full control. I got something else as well. And then you were about to hit overtime. He thinks about his play. He raises, goes into, plays Lockmon. He goes into Argo. He activates Lockmon, gets the Alliance, goes into Argomon and suspends the Lockmon. And I was just looking at him just like, what are you doing? Because you can't Alliance now. You know what I'm saying? And so he then goes into, then he takes about 3 minutes to figure out if he was going to Digivolve into Grand Kawaga or not. He Digivolves into Grand Kawaga afterward. Thinks because he has Magnmon's end of turn effect, so he pops my Izzy or whatever it was. And then he's like, after thinking about it for like another minute, he goes, oh, your Tyrant can redirect. I was like, yes. Obviously I have Metal Life underneath it. He was like, I won't swing. That took you that long to figure that out? Like, you obviously have Ace. Like, you're gonna die if you do, you know? So then I go to game, so now it goes to my turn. And so I board wipe. My end board ends up being, he has literally nothing, no Tamer, no nothing. Double Tyrant, Herc, Blade Kawaga, and Kokuamon with a Tentomon in the back. You tell me I'm not gonna win next turn? And then Judge comes in, it's like time. I was like, and I go tell the guy, I was like, let's be real here. I probably I had game next turn. And he's like, oh, I don't know. Let's check security. I was like, come on. Like, it doesn't matter what's in it. I'm winning this game. I'm like, wait, I have so much advantage. It doesn't matter if I don't win next turn. I was going to win this game in this round. And so he was like, oh, there's a shine of B. I was like, okay, that bottom deck's, the lowest level Digimon. So you're just going to bottom deck a Lockmon. That's what I had, a Lockmon on board as well. You're going to bottom deck a Lockmon. Great. How you dealing with 2 Tyrants on board? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, oh, well, we're going to a draw anyways. I was like, okay. So I'm like, whatever. I go into the next round. I'm 1-1-2 now. And I play Numon. I don't have a good start. He immediately tells me, oh, hey, I beat Yellow Armor Vaccine. That's what it was. Yellow Vaccine Armors. That's what I beat. Pretty good, too. Unfortunately, he didn't know much Tyrant stuff, so like, he didn't know certain things. But he figured it out afterwards, and then it was like, he didn't have, I guess, the options needed or whatever. Like, he didn't have, I had like Shivamon, whatever, on board. Like, he wasn't doing much or something like that. I don't remember. I just know it was like pretty decisively. Anyways, Numon happens. The guy tells me, I wish I could play this deck today. I haven't seen any of my 4s or 5s. I was like, sure. and then hatches, goes Uko, Louis, goes to another Uko. Next turn happens. I can't deal with the Ukos because I'm too slow at this point. Raises, search, gains a memory, goes to another Uko, plays another Uko. I was like, yeah, there's not much I'm doing this game. And then he plays Garymon, trash Platinum, goes to Numa X, goes into, the shenanigans of Numan. I was like, this is not happening. Round one, game one was not happening. Then game two, I had maybe a small mistake in game one where I should have evoed into the Mega Complementary Ace instead of waiting for the Ace play. Because I was able to swing over his a Digimon, I think it was Uko.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going Ace Blast and then do that. But he ended up getting rid of the Blade Kawaga. So because you're unaffected by Digimon effects, it was all by the Monzimons, Negs and stuff. So that might have been the misplay, but probably wouldn't have mattered because Monzi X carries over the same with Monzi. So goes to my turn, just dies anyways. And then the overflow. So hindsight 2020, but it doesn't matter. I don't think it mattered at that moment. Game two, I got Blitz again. Even worse than game one. I had a Kirk, I think, on board, and he just straight negged it to death. Double Monzi X's. I was like, yeah, this is it. You got it, Chief. Peace. I was like, yeah, I'm dropping. There's no ways I'm going to continue playing this tournament. It was rough. For me personally, unless I change some things in it, I'm not a fan. I play it to change some things. Let's rephrase. I'm not really a fan of playing Tyrant in a regional setting. I don't know. Maybe in person it wouldn't be as bad, but online felt rough because it feels like the instant slowdown. The moment they see Tyrant is they don't know what to do, so they freak out and they take this super super long time to figure out what to do, which I understand because Tyrant's hard to deal with. At a 20k Tyrant, unkillable by Digimon effects, can redirect. If you have Shivamon in play, no options either. I get it, it's hard, but do an action or something. Don't take 2-3 minutes and then do something that's causing the slowdowns and stuff. It was pretty bad. Really long it took a lot of those games.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't play decks like D Brigade as much as I love D Brigade, Vaccine, prior Yellow Vaccine, and a couple other decks. Because, for example, D Brigade, the onus isn't on my opponent; it's on me. And there's so many effects to think about, the sequencing of effects, because you're putting cards to top or bottom of the deck, which are really big decisions. That alone is big to think about. For Vaccine, it can take long because there's so much effects going off. There's so much recovery happening. But depending on what iteration of your deck you're running, one of your turns could just take long. And I just value decks that are capable of just performing. For example, Fenrir. As much as Fenrir is a setup deck, it's a fairly straightforward deck. Attack, die, get shit in the grave. Sure, the biggest decision comes in trashing.
I literally watched their turns take forever too, though. Them just thinking about their long, yeah.
Well, so when I take long on a Fenrir turn, that means I'm trying to win that turn. If I'm not winning that turn, then I'm generally trying not to take long. Yeah, I try to stay away from certain decks. So I feel that frustration for sure with Tyrant. It's funny because you'd expect Magna to be the same way, but I guess people don't think about it because Magna is just uninteractable, so to say. And I say that in air quotes. It's just because it has immunity, but it doesn't mean that you can't interact with it, which we'll talk about later. Tyrant is half uninteractable. You can't affect it by Digimon effects. So you have to think about when do I swing? And when can I use an option card? Because you can interact with it, it makes it a little bit more, I don't know, obviously fair, but it's funny because you'd expect to have more problems with Magna X, the one that's immune, compared to the one that's half immune. So, I don't know. All I know is that I couldn't. There are decks I stay away from playing in tournament for that exact reason. So now with that in mind, I'm just gonna go over poll results Q&A real quick so I don't forget about it. but then we're just going to talk about our general thoughts on BT16. But our last podcast, from the time that you guys are hearing this, you will have listened to the one with Mike. That was a fun one. With the one prior to that, how did the BT15 meta turn out? I said, what did you guys think of the BT15 meta? Jean-Claude, that is Lightspeed Sloth or Namcham, said it was interesting to see the meta developments. Leviah dropping off the face of the meta was surprising. So was the late dominance of Mirage. We could wonder what would have emerged to stop Mirage. I'm telling you right now, security control. Straight up, you would have seen like 3 security control drops, 2 to 3 of them.
Yeah.
If Mirage was that dominant. Sure, there are other decks that, because the thing is, there are other decks that would have like kept security control down. But if Mirage was going to come out in that much force, Setcon all the way to the top for sure. Potentially even Vaccine, just because, you can still run some kill options in Vaccine and then have the recovery and get away with it. Gus says, I personally had a lot of fun and managed to sweet spot my deck. It was far too long a meta, but I managed to make the most of the long road. Jay Stort says, I was fine with it. It did really seem like no deck was completely unbeatable. And then I asked y'all, what deck surprised you the most for BT15? Out of 9 total votes, we had 3 votes for Devas, 3 votes for Magnamon Armors, and then 1 vote each for Leviamon, Mirage, and Numamon. Absolutely nobody was surprised about Red Hybrid. I also just want to shout out this comment that I absolutely fucking chuckled at when I read it. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Nothing bad. It's JS Place on YouTube. They said, I subbed immediately after hearing the response to the Red Hybrid wasn't going to be good reply. And I went and I listened to it again. And I was like, I'm proud of myself. Like, I didn't bash, because I could have been antagonistic AF. I could have been Mario level, I could have been you're dumb for not listening and for not doing this and I'm right all the time kind of thing. But no, I was like, yeah, it was a bad opinion. It happens. There's good ones and there's bad ones. I mean, I have them all the time, so I thought that was funny. It made me laugh while I was in the car and I saw that come up, made me listen to the podcast again just to hear that part. So yeah, fun times over here at DGU. Anyways, let's talk about BT16. So far, playing in it. I mean, I already spoke about it, when I talked about, playing against Vaccine Armors. I didn't play against any Numamon, and I know Numamon would have been, the biggest issue because they're so much faster now. They got 8 Ukamons that they can play. And I'm not even, honestly, I'm not even worried about any other aspect of Numamon. It's literally just the fact that most of them are going to be running 8 Ukamons. Yeah. That's fast AF. And that's why I ran 2 Dexmon, so that I could be all right, cool. You got all this going on, Dexmon. Unfortunately, I didn't play against any, and I'm not sure, I probably would have
played 3 rounds, so that's probably why.
Yeah, but I probably would have rather play against that than Vaccine Armors, to be honest. I think I would have had a more enjoyable time. Harkening back to what Panzer said about, what decks do you enjoy playing against? Probably decks like Red Hybrid and Numamon, because they're fast and they're just trying to kill you, and you know what's going to happen. I think it generally, Mike said it once too, I think. Generally, nobody likes playing against control decks because nobody wants to be fucking controlled, Nobody wants to fucking... Nobody wants their shit to die. Yeah, exactly. We like freedom, all this sort of shit. It's playing against Vaccine, I was just you are obviously the better control deck. And I'm just not about it. And I think that's another thing about Magnamon Armors. It became this weird mid-ground of a Suedo rush deck, but with a lot of things to try to make it a heavy hitting control deck. And I just hate that. It doesn't work for me.
It's weird because so I believe, right, Magna X, the first one, came out BT9, right?
Yeah.
So pre that was super rush, super aggro, low to the ground type of deck, right? Then BT9 came out, right? Armors turn into basically this Magna X that does things but nothing at the same time thing, and you like kind of lost the aggression that it had, but you still had it, but it wasn't the same because your goal became, let's build Magna X, right? And then it was like, there's a reason why I fell off, because Magna X was a good card, but at the same time, not really. You DigiGuard once, especially in that era. Valkyriemon was running rampant or whatever, especially in 10 and 11. You just go, oh yeah, I can't do anything. And then now we get to BT16, and armors feels the same but better. It's more advanced in the style of what it is, because you're more heavy on the Magnamons. You got this best card in the deck, in my opinion, the ST Magnamon. But the whole point is still to get to Magna X. And now this Magna X, what it does for you is control board, and you can't be unkillable. And it's great, but sometimes you get to the point, I guess, where you're just like, you just stuck there, I guess. Like, I haven't played it yet, so like you could tell me if that's factual now, where it's just like you're stuck with this one Magna X, and then it's like, all right, can I do anything? Can I proc my own effect? Can I hope I live then, you know what I'm saying? If I don't, and then I'm screwed, you know what I'm saying?
It's weird.
And it don't get, I'm saying all of this, and it's still a tier 1 deck regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's how great it is. But it has this weird factor where it looks like, to me, from an outside view, because I haven't gotten to touch the deck yet, where it's just like, you got this aggro, but control going again still, but still not like, I don't know, like, I don't know.
Let me tell you, I'm so happy that I played it in BT15 so that I could speak on it in BT16. Like, I agree with Mike. Mike was like, oh, you're gonna pick up that, like, you're gonna max rarity that deck and you're gonna hate it. If I didn't play the deck in BT15, I do think I actually would have hated the deck, to be honest. Because I played it in BT15, I actually prefer the 15 playstyle over 16. Like, what you said kind of like holds true. It's like, it's not so much like I get into Magna X and it's like, can I proc my own effect? I think because I get into Magna X, I put the onus on my opponent to try to like have to respond to it, right? Like, they have to play around it, because if they let me proc my effect, well, then I'm immune again.
Right.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. What made it really bad was the deck was consistent. Like, the deck was really good at doing what it did in 15, because
it still does.
No, it doesn't.
All right, continue, my fault.
You have, like, I ran 4 kill options. I ran 2 full moon and 2 heavens, and then I think I ran 1 awakening, and then there was like, I want to say, in that iteration that I had gotten 18th with, or whatever it was, there was a total of like 8 tamers or so.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like 15 cards out of my 50 card deck that was like, air quote, dead. They weren't Digimon. And I didn't hate seeing any of those cards at any point in time. Awakening was great because it let me be offensive or it let me be defensive. My removal options always came up when I needed them. I never didn't have, I actually always never had them when I wanted them, more so than having them in hand when I didn't need them. Everything else, it worked. On Saturday, I really felt, because I have, let me tell you what the deck consists of. 3 awakening. I had 5 removal options. It was effectively, and I say effectively for a reason, 3 Heaven's Judgment and 2 Trident Arm. I had 3, let's just say 3 Blinding Ray. So that's already 11 option cards. And then there was 8 Tamers, 2 Shu, 4 Davis, and 2 Digimon Emperor. That's 19 cards. That's 4 more cards that are, air quote, dead, in terms of not being a Digimon. But also, I don't have an Ukomon. Before I had an Ukomon, so I had draw power because I was able to push up, Digivolve again. Yep. Gave me an extra Digivolve and Raising. And because I ran the Wanyamon eggs, I also had draws. So it just gave me a little bit more consistency and a little bit more aggression. And now, because even though, I have the 6 searchers, I have the 4, what's it called? 4 BT12, the 2 starter deck. I had so many times, like, I whiffed way more because of how much more diverse the deck was in terms of its options, and not having, the 4 Ukomon that were free trait. There was so much less to hit, so to say. And I, honest to God, had cards in hand that I fucking hated. I hated having those cards in hand. I had 2 Awakening. Like, I had one to start with, and then I drew into another one, and I was like, wow, this really, really showed up when I didn't need it. The Trident arms were fine, so were the Heavens. The removal, the most brickiest cards of all, I was actually fine with. It was everything else. The Blinding Rays that I couldn't use because I didn't have a yellow source. And then people are going to say, oh, so I play TK. Yeah. I really like Shu. Shu was great.
X usually.
Generally, you have Magna X, but like they'll use TK to pull that Magna X out of security, or, one of the other yellow cards, or the Blinding Ray. But the Shu, I actually like the Shu a lot for the same reasons that I said I didn't like it last format, and I feel like it might be better in BT16. I loved it. It gave me the Sec +1 when I needed it. It let me get bigger because of the Alliance. And if I needed, I had Reboot. So, like, I actually like Shu a lot. The Davis, Davis is Davis. Digimon Emperor is Digimon Emperor. Those cards were fine. But, I played 14 rookies, but man, was it hard to see rookies. It really was. It was really tough to see rookies, funny enough. And I think also last format I ran.
So I was about to say, it sounds like for you guys, switch up what you had that works for you and go back to certain things, like having the Ukos, having the Wanya draw. Because I don't think the Demi-Vs are necessary, right? Is it necessary?
I love those. I love those Demi-Vs. Making Magna X native 13K.
Okay.
Yeah, plus Magna X native 13K is big. Because that little buff sometimes is all that matters.
Oh, especially the Heavens, because it's 666 they have to use.
Well, there's that, but it's also like on my turn with the BT16 Demi-V for the plus 2K means that I'm natively 15, which is really good for whenever I want to swing over something, or if I'm going it's the more DP, the better kind of thing. So I actually like the Demi-Vs, but I agree with you on the Ukomons. I would definitely go back to running Ukomons. I would run the BT.
I don't know. For me, I don't think I was going to take out the Ukos. Like, I get why, because of the new stuff, 100%. Yep. But for me, like, when I was looking like I guess, again, I haven't really put my full, all right, let me see how I'm going to build the deck yet. But like my own Mana Theory Craft and Magna, again, my version of Magna would be different in the sense of I would probably be having it more aggro than your usual, because that's how I like playing the Armor Rush from back in the day. So like, I would have used the Ukos for sure. You're going either the searching or you're plussing memory and hatching, searching plus hatching. Like, there's so much Uko does for that deck, and it's free, so you can search it too. So it's not like it's the dead card. So like, again, I get why people went straight VMon if you're playing armors 100%, but like, I don't know. I think just me, it was just it's tough for me. I just see Uko as a card that is needed in that deck to do what it needs to do. And I don't know what's Magna X regular Evo requirements. Evo over yellow, black, and blue for 6.
Magnamon 2-color.
Yeah.
No, I can Evo. I believe it's over yellow, black, blue for 4?
5 or 6, right?
Maybe. I think it's 4. No, I think it's 4. Because the Digivolve is 5 from the Magnamon.
Do you know how often I used to see you go, all right, I'm gonna hit the Zudamon and still hard play a Zudamon and keep turn? Fuck it, go into a Magna X over it. I mean, you don't get wait, let's backtrack.
Nah.
You don't get the one Digivolve effect, right? Never mind. Backtrack everything I just said about that part. But the Ukos, 100% still. You know?
Yeah, so the problem with Magna X, the new one, is that the old one would proc on having X antibody in source.
Right. It
I
has
believe.
to have Magna, I think, right?
This
or something
one,
with armor.
Yeah, this one, it has to have armor form or a Magna X, which means you would have to play the old Magna X.
Right. Well,
but it's still going to cost 5 to Digivolve from that Magna X.
Oh, okay. You go Zudo into into old Magna X, and then you play the option, right? Let me stop. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean you could, but nah.
No, it's a lot.
I don't mind playing the Zudos, but I generally didn't feel. I mean, it could have been helpful, but I actually feel like I'm okay not playing with it with the Zudos. I actually agree with you on the Ukomons. I definitely did miss having Ukomons for sure. I think I would run a 2-2 split, 2 of the promo, 2 of the searching one, because I definitely don't need 4 memory gaining ones. And I definitely don't think I need 4 searching ones. I think a 2-2 split would be fine. If anything, I would run 3 searching ones and then call that a day. But I think another like big thing was like, I ran all 12 Magnamons last format. So I had the 18 rookies, 14 Vmons, 4 Ukos, and 12 armors. I never felt like I struggled to see any of them. If anything, I felt like I had too much. So like I wanted to go down to 11, and I think I did, so I could fit in maybe like, I don't know, another removal option or something. Like that was okay, but like this time I really just felt like there were more bricks. Like it really felt like half of the deck was just made to be a brick. And yeah,
I mean, to me, there's cards that in your deck that I'm just like, I don't know. Again,
it doesn't matter what those cards are. You complain about them, but Acid Injection would have been a Blinding Ray, and Celestial Arrow would have been a Heaven's Judgment.
But I mean, they matter for other consistency points. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have been something else. That could have been that Uko. Maybe those 2 cards could have been another Uko. You know what I'm saying?
For that, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how you feel about those cards. Again, like Acid Injection, that was the 3rd Blinding Ray, and I was going to run 3 Blinding Ray in that build no matter what. And Celestial Arrow was the 3rd Judgment. It was going to be a Heaven's Judgment no matter what. It doesn't matter. I could go down and run 4 removal, make one of those removal options in Ukomon. I am cutting all of Blinding Ray. I don't, if anything, I'd run 1 as a tech card, but like that card, honestly, it fucked me so much more than it needed to fuck me. You know, like I would Digivolve and draw, and I draw into it, and I'd be like, damn, I can't use this card. Or I don't want to use this card because it gives me no advantage right now. Like, sure, I can trash the security, but like I'm for 2 memory right now at this very moment, that's useless to me. I had no security and I still couldn't make use of it. Like it's just to play that like super wall deck that like people want to make the Magnamon armors to be. You're better off playing vaccine armors. I like
it feels
BT16
like
style armors.
It kind of feels like in like, if anybody knows Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a couple of decks that are like that. You just build a giant wall. Like Cleafort Towers was that type of card where like the whole point was get that one card out, and that was your game plan, which is like unkillable. The only way, you only have one way of removal of it. If you're able to have it, you got the out. And that's how it feels like. That's what Magnamon turned into, like that type of style in Yu-Gi-Oh, where you just build your whole game plan is get this one giant monster out that's supposed to be unkillable, everything, uninteractable, but somehow it's still interactable, and you can lose. You know, again, mind you, everything we're saying, it doesn't matter. It's still a tier 1 deck. So it's not like if we're saying it's trash and people will still play it that way. A lot of people are going to be playing it, you know, in tournaments. So this is something that everybody still needs to watch out for. Even though we've seen that Numan is probably really the king of the format for now, at least. But you know, we'll see. Speaking,
let me tell you something. Before we get into that, let me tell you something. Antics. Watching his Fenry video when I think it was like 6th place that he made with Fenry, and he basically said, he talked about building, I don't like the OTK style. And I was like, I'm with you, bro. I hate that shit. And he said, you know, this is what I do to play the deck in a little bit more my style, a little bit more tempo, a little bit more control. That's how I feel about Magnamon. Like here's the build that everybody's playing. I tried it. I hate it. Not for me. Nope. I'm not playing that. If there was another tournament, I would not play it in that way. Doesn't mean that it's not good. It really just means that it's not for me. It's not my style of deck, and I would much prefer to play it in the way that I was playing it previously. But there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you guys pick it up and you like that style, like, all the power to you. But you know, it's a really big thing about decks are personal. Playstyles are very personal.
Yeah.
And sometimes decks really just don't work with people, and you need to find something that works for you. Now, yeah, talking about Numamon.
Let's go, Numamon. Oh my god, I can't believe I can't believe I'm living to this day to know that Numamon is obviously was a tier 1 deck in BT15 and arguably is even stronger now in BT16. Like, who would have thought that a slug ass deck, this stupid green slime, was going to be like beat it out here slime. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a crazy day. What was it? In the play TCG, it was 7 out of 16 was Numamon. Crazy like number in my opinion. That's so crazy to me. The reason why I say it, because I didn't think people I thought people were going to be so hyped on the Magna X train that people were going to be like Magna X. And I think people were playtesting so much of BT16 that people realized that Numamon is really that good of a deck. And we saw the new combo that came out of it, right? We already knew that Numamon and Numamon was already playing like Valkyrie Ace in it. They were playing Rapid X in the deck. They were playing all these style cards that you can combo with the deck perfectly because it just synergizes well with it. And then we found this one card, right? Called Edamon. EX5 Edamon. This card is, in its own deck, a fair card, I would say. In its own deck, pre-Aces, a fair card, with Metal Edamon being the guy you want to redirect into, right? In today's day and age, I tested it out. So in my locals, real quick, I played a super jank version like Shakumon because I was missing cards. And my other low 5 was Edamon. And I won games because of that combo. Edamon to Valkyriemon. It was such a crack card. Such a crack combo. And so now, if for that doesn't even do much as what Numamon does. I can't imagine what Numamon does where you go, I'm going to go wide with this board. I'm going to have a bunch of Numamons on board. I'm going to go into Edamon or hard drop the Edamon because it doesn't even matter. Effect, give one of your opponent's Digimon -3k at the end of the turn. Start in main phase, they have to swing. So what you do is, right, you go, they swing, you go, okay, Valkyrie Ace, -5 to everything. So if they got a bunch of small bodies on board as well, they're dead. And then if it's still alive after the check for some odd reason, then the second effect, all turns, delete something that's 8k or less. So you're just basically saying, I just instant board control. Can you deal with this now? If you can't, I'm gonna smack you up next turn. That's basically what happens. That's basically what was happening from what I was hearing. I know, shout out to Huang Zero, the boy, the DCGO sim god that got us a beautiful sim. You know what I'm saying? People thought he was washed up and done, and he out here coming out with dubs. So I'm excited for him that he was able to do it. And that was his thing. He had 3 Edamons in it. He had 2, I'm sorry. He wanted a third one. He took out Magnamon and put in that Edamon. And he said that card was the most cracked thing ever just to be able to do that. At times, I think Dan Van even said it. He won a game because he was at 0. He hard played Edamon, gave him 7, boom, forced him to attack Valkyriemon, and you just blow shit up. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Dirty. It's wild, right? And it's like, all right, what are you going to do with 7 memory? You can't do anything. You can't play anything because you're -5 on the board right now. The only thing you could play is if it's a champion that's a 6k or higher, and then you hope you have things after that. I don't know. That's kind of hard, really. And like with that being said, you can even go into Valkyriemon and do that, and Valkyriemon fuck shit up too. Digivolve, specific stack, and then like bounce or whatever it is. And then like when attacking, you blow stuff up, but like it's not as bad as Valkyrie Ace. And again, you can do the same thing with Mega Gargoyle because black, that Edamon card gives you instant access to the best 3 aces in the game. You got Vike Ace, you have Valkyriemon Ace, and then you have Mega Gargoyle Ace. Those are the 3 best ones, right? Shit, you know what I'm about to do? Side note, real quick. I just want to go on a quick tangent. Dark Master Omnizoo, I'm throwing 4 Edamons into that bitch. Yo, I swear to God, like because they're all dual colors, so like you have access to black and yellow, and they all have something in those colors, so you have access. It's just such a crazy combo. Combo that with room mode as well if you need to with the Valkyrie. You just do a lot of shenanigans. It's just like straight board control with Anti-Numan. You just next turn, that second attack +1 carries over to your turn. So now that Valkyrie,
you know what makes that card even dirtier?
Effect, it gains that third check, so you can still pop off. You know what I'm saying? So now you're doing 3 checks. You got a Monzy X that could possibly do another 2 checks, and you got everything else that's gonna be swinging. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
You know what makes that card even dirtier? It's inherited.
Oh,
works so well with Numamon.
Play a 3 cost less. Yeah. You don't even need to activate it because you're gonna blow up their whole board. Who cares when you Valkyrie ace the shit out of them, you know? I think it's really, really good. That's for sure. Not ours. Numamon won. What was the other one? Brisbane, Australia.
Brisbane, yeah, Aussie.
Brisbane. Numamon won that one. I don't know how many tops for top 16.
Also high.
But it was a lot of high representation. 5 to 7, 5 to 8, something like that.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here real quick. Also, real quick tangent while I have it up here. A really big shout out to 12th place Charles West from Play TCG. Everything that I just complained about with Magnamon, he topped with Magnamon. Everything that I just complained about, it seems like he might have had that in mind. His Magnamon deck list has no Blinding Rays, no Acid Injection, like none of those cards. Let me tell you what his deck list is. 4, 8, 12 Vmons, 11 Armors, the 5 Magna X, 1 Old, 4 New, only 2 Awakening, 3 Zudo Ace, 2 Dex, 3 Heavens, 3 Mental, 3 Zubagon, 2 Shu, 4 Davis. Like, for what it's worth, he played this deck in a much more like aggro way with the Magna X, focusing on getting like using the Mental's Reduction, because you can use Mental's Reduction to go from Magnamon into Magna X for 2 less, so for 3. So it does work for that. And then just use Zubagon on Magna X. It gets Sec +1 blocker reboot. So as long as you have the 1k, which you'll always have from the Demi Vmon egg, you're going to be 16k, 2 checks on suspend, 2 checks alliance. I actually like this build a lot, and this is much. I wouldn't play this exact thing because I don't know if I'd run Zudomons. I value the Ukomons, and I'd probably run a couple of those, and I also value big time the Digimon Emperor. But like, I can see that he was basically like, yeah, fuck procking my own protection. I'm just gonna swing, and if you if you can deal with it, cool. If you can't deal with it, cool. It doesn't matter either way. I like that a lot. That's about where I'm at with the deck. I'm like, if my opponent can deal with Magna X, all right, GG. If you can't, okay, GG. Like, I just that whole trying to force your own protection proc, it just meant absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. And the crazy thing about Numamon, their DP negs carry over. So the moment your turn starts, as long as they hit that 12k or 13k if you have the boost, you're dead anyways. And that's why it's such a good counter, and that's why we saw Numamon do nothing really. BT15, obviously we know why, because APOC. BT16 for the first half, I think, of JP, maybe. I think it was until the Nats. However long that era was until Nats, and then post Nats was when Numamon was like running crazy over there. And then Magna X was still good, Yellow Vaccine Armor is still a good deck regardless, but like it wasn't the same because Numamon was around showing like, hey, this little green sludge, we can fuck you up too. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is good. Yeah. It's good when you have multiple decks and like that kind of like just counter each other, right? Because then you have Mirage over here just like, yeah, they might do that, but I'm gonna bounce your slimes away and you don't get no effects. You know what I'm saying? So like you have this weird, like, I guess triangle, because we saw in our top 16, right? The top 3 most represented decks were Magnus, Numamon, and then I think it was Mirage too, right? Or was it a different regional? I don't know if it was ours or not. I know maybe it was a different regional. Maybe it was a different regional because I think I saw like 3-3-3 split, something like that. It was a different regional, I think, because it had Tyrant and Tyrant then top for us. But yeah, I don't know.
And that would be TAC, which it wasn't a bunch of Numamon. It was actually diverse. It was 3 Numamon, 3 Mirage, 3 Magna, and then some other decks.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to continue happening for like North America where Numamon just straight like 7 out of 16. I think we're going to see more of that split where we see like, you know, a more even split. But again, Magnamon can be dealt with. Magnamon is not like, you know, this big giant
Magnamon is not the issue.
Magnamon is not the issue. The issue is the cards that support the deck, in my opinion.
Not even the cards that support the deck.
Or I can use, I should say.
It's the cards, exactly. Yeah. It's Vaccine Armors. Vaccine Armors is the issue, and it's not even that big an issue because it only had 2 tops. Arguably, more people will say Ukumon's an issue and Ukumon needs to get hit. Yeah. They'll say what else? What was the other one? Oh, yeah, Magnamon. I mean, sure. Cumulatively, I think Magnamon had like 5 tops. Yeah. It could be between Vaccine Armors and Magnamon Armors as a deck. But yeah.
Speaking of being hit,
I'm looking at the list at top.
Go ahead. For what? The Magna?
I'm looking at the list. Yeah, for the Magna list that topped over in Australia. And
standard?
They're all on kind of like the same thing. No, they have like the Blinding Rays. They got 2 of them.
I got you.
They're a little bit more, but they're generally like along the lines of the same thing.
Right.
But not like the one that topped over here. And
I got you.
I also wouldn't play these lists, I don't think. I do like the addition of the mental training. That was something I was like toying with the idea with. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't have the space right now. You know, I was playing the 3 Blinding Ray and the 3 Awakening and trying to see how that works. But yeah, obviously that's not going to happen. But go ahead. You were going to say.
I was going to say, I got a hot take for the audience right now. I got a hot take. I think this is probably like the first time I actually think that something needs to get hit just because of the interaction, not because of what the card does, which is Edamon. I think I don't know about immediately, but I think the interaction of what aces can bring, especially level 6 aces and that card in a deck like Numamon, I think that's something that needs to probably go eventually. I think it's very similar to the the Galaxy Loop, where it was like one of those like accidental things that were like a card that was like, you know, you got 2 cards from 2 different decks that like accidentally work together. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's we're about to hit the same spot because the Edamon plus like Valkyrie or any ace that's like really good is kind of crazy. I don't know if like Edamon needs to be straight out banned, but I think if you do a choice restriction on like Edamon plus the aces, specifically like Volk, Viking, and Mega Gargo, I think that makes things more fair, and you don't get that like crazy interaction where you just, all right, we go Edamon, force you to attack, go into Volk and just kill everything. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of on like the borderline, like what people like hate about like card games, where like that toxic interaction that like randomly happens sometimes. Because obviously we know that wasn't meant to be for that. It was meant to be for Edamon deck where, you know, you're doing that to purposely make them swing into like your security or whatever, or block into your metal Edamon. And get like those effects like the Edamon from security or whatever that plays out metal Edamon from hand. Like clearly it was meant to do stuff like that. It wasn't really meant to be used as a card in then like Numamon type style deck and then go into an ace immediately.
A choice restriction isn't the way to go about that because it's what's going to happen.
Because future stuff is going to happen.
You're going to say choice restriction on those 3 and sure. Okay. And then another ace is going to come out and then we got to choice restrict that. Yeah. We got to choice restrict another one. And then we got to choice restrict another one. So if you wanted the card hit, it would have to be a card that gets restricted. Now that being said, do I think it's a card that needs to get hit? Before we talk about that, let's talk about, do we think aces are healthy for the game?
Yes.
Why are aces healthy for the game?
Because it helps counterbalance and give an interaction on an opponent's turn.
Right. I agree. I think aces are one of the best things to happen to the game. You know, I actually, this was a kind of topic in Discord the other day. I don't remember exactly when it was, but somebody had expressed gripes with your opponent being able to remove a Digimon before like you could ace. And I mean, that's really important because on the one hand, you as the opposing player, of course, you don't want your Digimon removed. But as the turn player, what would it be like if you were like, okay, cool, I'm gonna swing, and before like you can do any of your effects or before you can remove a Digimon, your opponent gets the chance to respond. Are we playing Yu-Gi-Oh at that point? You know, did my opponent just say, all right, I'll just Ash Blossom and then shut down your whole turn? Like, that's like, do we want to get to that level? No, I don't think so, right? So it's healthy that you have the chance to respond before your opponent. What it becomes is a question of, do I have the right setup to remove the ace threat before my opponent is able to do it?
Right.
That's why in a lot of situations, it's like, is it smart to swing? You know, if your opponent's playing...
you're not being directly forced into doing stuff like that.
Right. If your opponent's playing Double Typhoon and there's a Rapidmon staring you down, do you swing? Maybe. Maybe not. Because you could be staring at a Mega Gargo Ace. And that card is Ash Blossom level of shutting down your turn. Yeah. Because what are you going to do after that? You can't Digivolve. Can't suspend shit. What you gonna do, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't disagree. I think as time goes on, I think right now it's fine. But it's definitely something to monitor. It's like Heaven's Judgment. It's my argument on Heaven's Judgment. Though Heaven's Judgment has fucking shown that it should be hit, in my personal opinion. You know, wait till I get my big level 7 Tlakomon and you know, I get to do those shenanigans even more. But it's definitely a card that's like,
Here's like, again, my reasoning for it. Mike brought up this point. He was like, what about all those other cards that forces your opponent to attack on start of main phase? I said, here's the difference. Those cards, 2 of them are an option. So you're not guaranteed to have that low 5 on board ready for the Valk Ace play, right? Or any Ace play. And then 2, the other card are like that is Examon, which you have an out. So like you're not like ever going to Valk Ace anyone in Examon. And then the other card that is around, I think, is that it, right? Craniumon. Craniumon forces attack, I think, right?
End of turn, yeah.
End of turn, but that's a little different. But like, so the main 2 cards, so like the 2 options, so you get the Trident Arm and then the Waltz End, I think it's called. Or no, it's the Lapis Demon. Lapis Demon. Yeah. It's different because all you need to do is hard play the Edamon. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as you have Valk Ace in your hand, you are always perfectly set up for that play, and you're going to F up the whole board state in the situation of the game. Again, I don't think the card is that crazy, but like because of the interactions of how aces are, it changes the way things is, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to hard play, you just Evo it, you know, for 4. 3 if it's on a Sukumon. And again, if you're running something like Sukumon, like Tessero did, a Sukumon Armadillo DNA deck, which it worked well. Yeah. It didn't work well. It was hard to deal with, for sure. You're always gonna be even for 4, or you have like a training boost or something. But again, Numon don't ever run training boost. So like, it's just I think it's very borderline to me on one of those things where it's like, this could definitely be something that needs to be talked about future wise. And again, like another argument that could be made is, but this card was irrelevant in BT15. We didn't have 2 of the best all-time aces yet. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have done it with Zulong, force a low 5, go to a Zulong, bounce something, right? Or even Mega Gargo, but again, you know, different in that type of deck. You never really ran Mega Gargo in it unless you was ahead of your time and you was doing the Edamon play with it. I don't know, you know. But we got 2 of the best aces in BT16, right? Valk Ace and Vike Ace, so you could definitely do it. Grand Kawaka is a good ace, but doesn't pertain to that because its colors is different. So it's definitely something that card needs to be definitely be looked at whenever the time comes for them to do it. Because I think that is potentially an unhealthy interaction. It's fine if you Volk A someone if they attack you because they're purposely doing it. But because the way it works, unless you have like Davis Ken on board and you're doing things, but like why would you Davis Ken when you know you about to get all F? So now it stops your plays if you're an Imperial player. Because I saw that happen as someone who was playing it. I mean, I did it to Gamamon, but like Gamamon's kind of irrelevant in our format, in a competitive format. But you can even kind of, you know, Numamon Mirror. Oh my God, that's terrible, right? You just clearing board again as well. You could F up a Magna X that doesn't have protection instantly with it. You could do a lot with that combo. It's really, really crazy.
I think it could. It's the type of effect that could just be a issue in general, not just with Edamon. If you think about Slayer Dramon, if we ever get an Examon Ace.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, 100%. Right?
You know?
We already saw,
Like,
I mean, if anybody remember on pod, we had head judge of PVG that was like, them level 7 aces gotta go. Imagine a level 7 Examon with that type of combo that you just set it up. All right, you could just Evo probably over your Slayer Jamon. You force attack, hard Evo into Examon. It'll probably have like some crazy bounce and like everything else that's gonna happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, could be really crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think that type of effect in general just needs to be, you know, thought about in the way that it's done.
Yeah.
Monitored for sure. You know, Edamon into Valk, I think right now it's fine. I think obviously the issue with Valk is that blanket minus 5k is like big. Not even Rapidmon is like air quote that good. It's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not, but
yeah,
-4 and -5 are two very big differences. There's a reason Ruin Mode is a $90 card, you know, because -5 is a very large percentage of level 4s, whereas -4 is I would say maybe half of level 4s. So while you can definitely have issues, you know, Rapidmon, you have more issues with Valk because that -5 is big. And then for Valk also being able, for when it digivolves, to basically take out opposing megas is bonkers. For the likes of, you know, Magna X, that's how they deal with Magna X, because you can do blanket, like imagine this, right? You set up your Monze X and you do all the DP minusing. And then you just hard drop Edamon for 7, or you play out a Numamon, right? So you don't even need the hard drop. You just digivolve Edamon for 4.
Yeah.
You force your opponent to attack. So let's say you're what, like 6?
Yep.
Because let's just say you have a Digimon in play, Monze X, and then you drop one off of Monze X. So that's like 6. So you force the Magna X to attack. It is now 6k. So you force the attack. Oh, I forgot. The Edamon is also a -3. It's not just start of fucking main. It's also
that's what I said. I mentioned the -3 before. Yeah.
It's a -9 effectively now. Yeah. Magnamon swings. You go into Valk, even if you have DP buffs. Because if you're at 15, you're down to 6, right? Math is right. Yeah, you're down to 6k. You kill it off of the deletion effect. Then you armor purge. But now you're lower. So you just die.
Also, especially in Numamon too, there's I believe it's the Rush Numamon that's generic blocker inheritable. You can just block with the Valk. And then I was like, all right, cool. Now yeah, you're stuck anyways, and then I'll blow something else up while I'm at it. If I don't blow something up, I'm gonna have the second attack +1 carry over to my turn. And then my turn, I'm gonna blow up your security then. And the cool thing about the Valkyrie, if you run in like the Armadillo Shaku DNA, the new Armadillo and Ankylomon have +1k all turns. So now that Valk Ace could potentially be a 14k swinging 3 checks instead of your normal 12, which is kind of cool for that like deck. But like combo is pretty crazy. Honestly, the Edamon into the Valk. I think it's such a tempo change too, because you just can't do anything if you're not strong enough to like deal with it. It's crazy.
So what do you think is the deck that beats Numamon? Obviously, you know, blue decks can be tough because they just bounce everything away.
What beats Numamon is Numamon. Honestly, I think that's probably his only worst matchup is the mirror, because the mirror effectively is its worst matchup right now, because like of what it can do. So you just neg the shit out of their stuff, and then it's like, all right, I'll have a neg 5 on your board. You're never playing anything. No Uko, no Numamon, no nothing. Platinum Numamon would be neg 4 if they could get it out, but like, depending on the situation, I guess, you know. Magna X can do things, but again, because of the way Numamon works, a lot of effects carry over to their end of turn, onto the opponent's turn. So like that's where things get rough for them. Mirage can go, hey, I can bounce all your stuff. So if Mirage sees all the pieces, and that's why we saw Mirage doing really well in BT15, especially the last half. That's part of the reason, right? Because you're able to bounce everything. They lose all their on deletions. But now you have maybe a point where you go, all right, you got a Mirage on board. I'll play as Edamon. You're going to swing into Volk Ace. You're going to die. Now you can't do anything because you have a neg 5 on board. That's the difference, I think. Especially this Edamon really was carrying, doing this more often now. You know, if that Edamon gets played, I think every deck we're going to see is Edamons in the deck. There's no way we don't anymore. I think like multiple of the top 7 had the Edamon in there already, because I know Huang did, and the other person who taught, I think it was Tyler Sire. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to say the last name. Mm-hmm. He had the Edamon.
GFG Tyler.
Yeah, GFG Tyler. Yo, speaking of, that man has been in like top 8 in like almost every other regional for the last like couple months with Numamon. I've been doing the meta snapshots. I've been seeing that name. I was like, damn, how many Omnimons this man got? You know what I'm saying? He's been killing it. Because I know
no, this was his first top 8. This is his first aerial Omni.
I didn't know.
He's been top 16.
That's what
this is his first top 8. Yeah.
Got you. My fault. I didn't realize that. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Tyrant can do things, but again, a lot of neg, you know, that carries over. So you gotta hope they don't reach the 14K mark with all the negging, you know. Tyrant can be, you know, good, but at the same time,
easy. Just play Pomomon.
Yeah, that's true. Pomo, no, but Pomo, you gotta play correctly, because Pomo affects your Tyrant yourself. When you go into Tyrant, you can't play your Digimon because you can't play things by effects. You know,
who gives a damn? Don't drop anything. You just say, haha, you can't now.
No. As someone plays it, you need to do it. So like Tyrant can't, but you could just board swarm them, right? Tyrant can only redirect so many times. So
you know, Dan,
it's kind of tough.
All you're telling me is that Numamon needs to be hit. That's all I'm hearing. Needs to get hit. Yeah, that's all I'm hearing, to be honest.
I don't know at this point. I don't know what Bandai's even thinking when it comes to this stuff, so we'll see.
No, you can't even say I don't know. That's why I asked. I was like, what beats Numamon? If you're saying that the only thing that beats Numamon is Numamon, that's an issue. If the only thing that like reliably beats Numamon is the mirror, that's an issue. That is,
I mean, Magna
not a
can
tier
do
0
things
format.
Again.
But
I think if like I said, I think the Edipod is really changing things. I think Edimod's made it even more powerful.
Even without Edamon.
If you take out the Edamon, I think it goes back to more reasonable, possibly. You know what I'm saying? But 8 Ukos is pretty crazy. 8 Ukos is crazy.
I'm telling you, 8 Ukos is insane. I didn't play against it, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, I do. But I think the searching is more the search of Uko is more problematic than the promo, in my opinion.
I would agree. I don't know, and so I keep saying I haven't played against it, so I don't know. I keep saying that because I'll build it
tonight, and we'll play it tomorrow. You see how crazy it is.
I have it built. I mean, I don't have the Edamon combo in it, but I have it built with 8 fucking Uko mods. I haven't played it. I haven't played against it. What I do envision though is the exact. 4 Ukomons was a fucking issue.
Yeah.
8 Ukomons, coupled with the fact that Mons AX can play out those Ukomons because it doesn't color restrict.
Correct.
I think Numamon gets hit for sure. I think I'm almost positive it's still topping in Japan.
I just
right?
don't know. Yeah, it is. I don't know what you hit in the deck though.
An
like,
Ukomon.
Is it you just hit Ukos and that's it? But like it still has the core engine itself.
I'd hit one. I'd let them have 5 Ukomon because I think the deck was fine in BT15. You know,
right.
I think 8 Ukomons is super oppressive, and I agree. I do think. Well, I don't. It's tough, right? Because I think the searching Ukomons are actually like really good for like everything else. It's just unfortunate that like Numan is out here
abusing it. Yeah, because they don't have no rookies they need to rely on. So shit, go 8 Ukos, call it a day.
Right. So like
I'd like got a lot of things with it.
I would like to say, hit the promo Ukomon instead, because I would prefer to play the searching Ukomon in more decks. But you can't even really like choice restrict. It's a tough choice restriction. I guess like
imagine they like choice restrict the Ukos itself. Choice restrict with Uko. If you play one Uko, right. You can't play the other. but then you fall into the Doru Grey problem. Like I hate like hitting decks that don't deserve the hits. So like if there was a choice restriction, it would be like, I guess Uko with Monze X. I think that's the most reasonable choice restriction because Monze X is so crucial to the plan. That you're not really going to play Numan if you're not playing Monze X. Because you could I'm not saying you would cut Platinum Numan, but I feel like players would just be like, but I feel like if they choice restricted Ukomon and Platinum Numan, people would be like, how much do I like this Platinum Numan? Oh, you have to do that? 100%. I'm going straight 8 Ukos and pulling something else on top end.
Right, exactly. But if you choice restrict the Ukomon and the Monze X, then it's like, do I want the 8 Ukomons or do I want the Monze X? And I wouldn't hate that because Monze X, that end of turn DP neg, playing out those Ukomons for free, that's more of an issue. Like, I could take any jank ass deck and play Ukomons and 8 Ukomons in it, right? We could take fucking Edamon, like straight Sukumon Edamon, play 8 Ukomons in it, and it wouldn't be an issue. So, like, what makes Numamon the issue? Sure, the deck is fast, but like, what makes it the issue? Monze X is playing them out for free. Almost like the entire bottom end of that deck. And then, you have easy ways to go into an ace target in your Valk ace. And then ruin mode if you play that. And then you have Dexmon to respawn. It was a very streamlined and a very good deck. And if the only way to beat the deck is by playing the deck, then the deck needs to get hit. Like, that's just straight up. What do you hit? Ukomon. I don't think Valk is a problematic card in that sense that it should be hit. I agree. Edamon is something that needs to be on the watch list. It doesn't need to be hit. I wouldn't even hit Numa X. Numa X, that's not the hit. Hit a Ukomon. Hit a Ukomon, but do a choice restrict so that we can still play Ukomons. Just choice restrict the Ukomon to Monze X. That would be what I would do.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Damn, you even got... Bro, I'm looking at some deck lists here. Wow. You even got them playing the starter deck 19 Centralmon.
Yeah, in the future, they're playing that because it works well with it because the puppet thing. Yeah, I would. See, now here's the thing, right? Too, you hit Monze X, or you choice restrict Monze X and Ukomon, right? Or you hit. Let's just say you hit Monze X in any capacity, and do they just start playing for Edamon? And going heavier like on the Valk, like, and then does that pose a problem? I mean, whatchamacallit? I think Huang has three Valks anyways.
Right, but so is that now an issue? Like, I don't think it is, but like,
no, I don't think the Valk. I don't think the. Well, the Valk Ace is a problem.
Right, but I'm saying if they hit Monze X and you're just like, all right, well, I guess I'll just play 4 Edamon now. Is that an issue? Because you run so many Valk? Could be. Yeah. So like, now, we kind of come back to the drawing board. What do you hit? I don't... Numan's going to get hit, straight up. I think Numan's going to get hit. Problem is, we don't know when a ban list is coming, if a ban list is coming, at what point a ban list is coming, because Bandai hasn't said anything about it. All they said was, we're going to do better to evaluate the meta and make sure that we're hitting cards when cards need to be hit. Yeah. Translation.
Whenever they feel like it.
whenever they fucking feel like.
That's the only like good. I feel like that's the good and bad side. Good and bad side about I'm playing like whatchamacallit, ban lists. Because it was the same thing for a long time for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had like an era where they had like, you know what time they had a ban list, and then they had an era where it was random. We just didn't know. And we're in for Bandai, it's random. It's all AF right now. And like there's good and bad to it, because it's like it's good because like, all right, they're gonna let things, you know, do whatever, and we'll figure out. And then if it's really toxic and it needs to get hit immediately, they will. The bad side is sometimes they wait too long. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes the wait is way too long. But like, how can you already ban something when they already banned something for BT15? That was only one set prior. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just don't think you can just go like each format be like, we need to ban such something. You're like each set we got banned such and such immediately. Like I don't think that's the way to go. Again, if you go by like, hey, every 6 months. Or like every 6 months or so, you go, hey, we got to update the ban list. I think that's okay too, possibly. It's not too bad because that means that's 2 ban lists a year usually, give or take. But it just sometimes just weird because like we don't know. Like if we're at a point that do we need one? Like if we objectively look at this game state right now, we don't really know much from like let's say BT15, right? Let's look, because we're just starting BT16, which is going to be a short format because we're going to have EX6 in another month. If you want to count that as the same format, whatever, because EX sets usually don't matter, but this set might, but future us, right? Let's talk about now. If BT15 was 3 months, right? Do we really think that objectively we needed things hit? Yes or no? No, right? Do we think of BT16 possibly? Do we need something objectively hit? Maybe because of the Edimon thing. I think for me personally, but I think overall people are not going to be like, probably not, because was Magna like a tier 0 deck in Japan? No. Numon?
It doesn't matter. You know, the motherfuckers want these cards hit. They already like, I'm trying to be reasonable, right? I'm like, I think like something should be hit, but you got mofos out here who are like, no. Numamon needs to be hit. It was 7 out of 16 tops, and Magna X also needs to be hit because it's an unreasonable card.
Which is ridiculous because Magna X was in like, again, it was a really good card and you know, it's a really strong deck, but like there's outs to it. Like there's not like it's not this giant boogeyman. We just saw what happened in Regional 1. If Regional 1 was going to be like Magna X dominance, it would have dominated. There's like, what format do we not have where it was like that deck dominated and then get hit in GAP and come around dominator? You know what I'm saying? Like that usually it happens. You know, Alphamon, we saw Alphamon Melga came through, you know, swinging and stuff like that, right? Like we saw Shine, BT13. I'm not going to say it was tier 0 at all. I'm not saying that. But shit, this was Shine obvious B-diff and best deck in the format in BT13? Hell yeah, it was. And we knew that was happening over there. So like, like people who were on this like Doom posting and Magna X, like y'all were a little relax. Let's relax a little bit.
all I'm gonna say to wrap up this podcast is EX6 is about 3 weeks away now. And I'm not saying that EX6 changes up the meta like majorly, but it does add things to the meta that makes more decks capable of being played, which means there's going to be more people trying more things. And then about 5 weeks after EX6, I believe, there's BT17. BT17, we get
a lot of decks.
Let's forget about Shine for a second.
Sure.
Let's forget about Gallimon for a second. You get Imperial that has the Imperial protection into Paladin mode, which is very strong. And you get Omnimon Tribal, let's deck, call it. Omnimon Tribal that literally says like when this would leave. Omnimon, you know? And there's also Diaboromon, which is still a very good wide deck. Yeah. Like it's very easy to go wide. Now, obviously, what's it called? Dexmon is a thing. Dexmon's not going to delete the tokens, though. Valk Ace will delete the tokens.
Yes.
But there's like, I don't know, it feels like right now it might be an issue. It's also one event. Unfortunately, we're going to have more to look at, but for North America, there's two events.
More.
This
Two
one
more?
and one more. Across all the other regions, I want to say we have
a couple, right?
At least like 7 to 8 more events to look at. So we'll get a feel for it across the entire player base. But then still, we're 3 weeks away from EX6. Sorry, not 7, if I said that. And I think that alone is going to inject like new life into like decks. Because sure, BT16 gave a lot to different decks, but like Angels, 7 Great Demon Lords, and Magnamon and Ragnarlord. That's like 4 big decks coming out of EX6 that a lot of players are going to try to play.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be had across the board.
I think it's a super exciting time to play Digimon because BT16 feels like another step in a new era, starting with tricolor stuff, starting with, partition, starting with like these new way of playing some of these decks that are improved now, like DNA, all that stuff. So I think it's a good time. New ace cards that helped a lot of decks, and I think it's something to be excited for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a great time. With that being said, we are going to wrap up this podcast. Again, parting words, I think we've had worse times in Digimon, all right? Like, let's just put it like that. Like, if you're a competitive player, like the competitive landscape of the game isn't so bad where it's like play Numamon or die.
Correct.
There was a third, we didn't even talk about it because we just didn't have time. Blue Flare got fucking third.
Yeah,
okay.
Impressive.
We said Blue Flare wasn't going to do big shit. Yeah. Right, exactly. And Blue Flare got third.
I want to see was it like a regular, or they added like some spice? They added some spice.
8 Ukomons.
That's the spice right there. 8 Ukos,
baby. But like, I thought, like when I saw that, I was like, maybe they're running high-speed jamming plugin. No, just 8 Ukomons.
I don't blame them. And what, 8 Gaussmon too? Or maybe 4, 6?
Probably just 4.
The main
probably
one.
4.
The main one, and then the on deletion. Is relevant.
Yeah. But like, Blue Flare got third. Ulforce got 9th.
Impressive too. A deck that was a BT11 deck. That's a long time ago in like card game era, right? Where a deck that was like based on your tamers need to be in play, the arena specifically to OTK with Ulforce and do shenanigans, is still able to get a dub in today's world where Magna X is running around, Numamon is running around, Imperial now, the re-emergence of Imperial running around. It's impressive. Imperial didn't even make top 16. Just to show you, how crazy it is.
I do think it will. Like, if this format was longer for North America, it would. But like, my parting words is really just like, I do think something in Numamon will get hit. Do I think Numamon needs to get hit? It's tough. It's really tough to say. It's the first tournament of a new format. Everybody's going with what they're comfortable with, and they already know that this shit works and that it's busted. So why not just continue to play it? But I do think something will be hit. I think something needs to be addressed at some point, potentially. But I think we're fine for right now. There's been worse times to play. There have been worse times to play this game.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. 100%.
So with that being said, in the words of Dan Vang, I love Digimon. What you thought I was going to say? What you thought came out of Dan Vang's mouth?
I don't know. I voted for this.
I voted for this. Dan, if you listen to this, just know. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So until we talk to you guys next time, peace out.
Catch you on the next one.